guess who's back, and back as a whole mum, whole mother. Very long overdue. I've been dying to sit down and have a catch up, bring everyone up to speed and share everything and document everything. We are in his nursery right now. He's just had a feed and now he's having a little nap. So now that I'm holding him, hopefully he will sleep for a good while. Please don't be thinking that I look like this every day. We had a photo shoot, a family photo shoot, and then it was my dad's 60th birthday, so it was time to whack my Dyson out and get a good blow dry. And thankfully baby boy loves the sound of a hairdryer and a hoover. I thought that as soon as I was pregnant I would be doing all the, you know, like the names I love but won't use, decorate my nursery with me, baby shop with me, like all those kind of typical YouTube videos. But I was super busy. I was still working, obviously. House stuff was still going on. Obviously we were still trying to do the nursery. My car broke down. We had to get a new car, so that was just a bit of a drama. We had our holiday in the middle of it. Gary had like a couple health things. Obviously just being pregnant is tiring. So yeah, it just wasn't maybe what I imagined, but I'm not mad about that or upset about that. I actually really enjoyed it. I enjoyed my whole pregnancy. I loved being pregnant. I was very lucky. I wasn't sick. I didn't have any cravings. I didn't go off food. I really didn't feel pregnant probably until like the last 6 weeks or something maybe. It was an absolute dream of a pregnancy, and I know I was just very, very lucky. I did from memory record a few scan appointments and maybe just another couple of appointments or some chats about things. I'm not sure. They're on my memory card and I will insert them as the video goes on. I've put everything in my notes in my phone and have done since the start of my pregnancy, which I'm so glad I did because you do forget things. So many photos, they're mostly all over on my Instagram. I love being pregnant so much and I do really, really miss it. It's such a weird thing to say because obviously you're so glad that your baby is here, but I don't know, there's just something about being pregnant and knowing that they're all yours just at that moment and they're not shared yet with anyone, and it's just such a fabulous feeling and connection and love, and it's something else. It is something else in itself. But you're okay, I'm still here. I also have a very constipated and gassy and refluxy baby, so he can be a bit uncomfortable sometimes, but honestly he's just the best. He deals with it so well, and I know, like, you know, obviously everyone thinks their baby's the best, but he really doesn't cry when he's in pain with it. He just kind of like takes it like a champ and he grunts and like makes wild animal noises, but he doesn't scream and cry. He's a dream. He is a dream. So yeah, let's just get stuck in. I just want to give like a run through of everything, a timeline of everything, and I just wanted to talk a bit about my conception and my pregnancy and our journey, and yeah, everything kind of pregnancy related, I think, for this video. And then we will do a big old catch up on my labour. We've been together since we were in secondary school. I think it's like, I don't know, 13 years or something, something like that. I literally lose count. I think I was 13 and he was 14, and I'm 27 now, or 20, yeah, I'm 27 now. So it's been a very, very long time, and we always knew we wanted kids, but I think Gary probably would have had kids like in any situation, in any scenario, where I was like, no, we need to have a house, I want to travel more, you know, I want to live life and do our thing, my thing, you know, before we even think about that. COVID obviously happened for everyone, and that put a spanner in the works for us buying a house, and it delayed things a lot. Then we finally got our home and we moved in on the 4th of February 2022. I think it was maybe like a month in, or maybe 2 months in. I can't exactly remember, probably 2 months in. I don't even know how it came up, to be honest, because we love kids and we love babies, and we knew we wanted to start a family and have a family, so it wasn't really like we had to have a sit down conversation about it. But yeah, so we decided we wanted to have a baby, so we started trying, and we were extremely fortunate that it happened for us the first month we tried. And I was actually really surprised about that, because we've been together for so long, and because you hear of accidents happening so often, because I don't want to like go too much into personal stuff, but I've never been on any pill. Well, I haven't for like ages, like 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10 years, like I have never been on anything. And I didn't really think we would have been that fortunate for it to happen so quickly, just because you hear of accidents happening, and that had never happened to us in the whole time we'd been together. And I know, you know, we were obviously just careful and it just didn't happen, but I always did kind of think like I would have had polycystic ovaries, or I don't know, I just always thought there was going to be something wrong with me. And I think it's more of a common thing now, maybe just because more people are talking about it, and quite a lot of people I knew have taken a while to get pregnant, like sometimes even up to a year or 2 years. It was so bizarre when it was positive, and it was like such an overwhelming and exciting and like a what the moment. I just didn't expect, I don't think we both expected it to be positive, so that was bloody fantastic. It really, really was. So I've just actually looked back at the timeline, and I had been sent home from work because I had COVID on the 8th of April, and I think that lasted like 2 weeks. Like I had it for, I was fine, but it lasted for 2 weeks. And we got our positive pregnancy test on the 16th of April. So I was technically pregnant and had COVID at the same time. So we found out on the 16th of April, and then we told my mum, and I'm sure Gary's mum, on the same day, on the 18th. So yeah, I know it was like super quick and everything, but we were obviously just so excited, and I knew I could hold it in for like other people, but for my family, no, I definitely couldn't have waited. So yeah, we told everyone super quick. We were all so excited. Everyone was so excited, like it was a dream. And that was kind of then the start of my pregnancy journey. So like I said, did I say at the start of this video or in another video? I don't know, but I never really fully felt pregnant. Probably, like I felt the baby obviously kick loads, and you know, had appointments and scans, and I seen the baby, but I don't think I ever truly believed, or I ever really felt pregnant. Probably until the last 6-ish weeks. I didn't have any aches or pains. I had a bleed, I think I was 6 or 7 months maybe. Obviously that was a wee bit scary, and even to this day I don't fully know exactly what caused it. Apparently it can happen in some pregnancies. Obviously everything was fine. That was kind of really the only hiccup that I've had. Tell a lie, near the end of my pregnancy there was a whole drama, which I'll get into. Conception, don't really have much to talk about on that, apart from the fact, because I had in the back of my head that it would take a while, I had ordered, like I went down a whole rabbit hole. People might laugh or like think I'm stupid, but I genuinely only thought, well, I thought you could get pregnant any time in the month, as long as obviously you're not in your period. Like I thought it was just one of those things that like any day of the month apart from those few days on your period, that was like you were going to be pregnant if you did the deed. I didn't know it was a much smaller window, so any wonder, you know, it can take a while to conceive, because you're trying to like pinpoint, I think it's like you've only got a couple days now. I can't exactly remember now, but at the time I was a pro and I had all the knowledge and all the info on it. So yeah, it's a much smaller window than what I ever thought it was. And yeah, so you've got that small window. And I bought an ovulation kit. So you just got wee strips, like they're just like wee pregnancy tests, but they're for ovulation, and they just tell you when you're ovulating. So the line gets darker when you're at your peak. I actually thought I'd ovulated when I hadn't, and thankfully I kept doing the ovulation kits even when I thought I'd done my peak. So you would assume when you've had your peak you don't need to keep doing the ovulation, because you only peak once a month. So once you've, you know, got your peak, then you do the deed and then you just wait to do a pregnancy test. But no, because I'm a freak, I kept doing the ovulations every day even after I thought I peaked. And thank God I did, because the peak wasn't actually a peak, and I don't know if that was like a dodgy test or what had happened, or maybe there was like a slight peak but not my big peak. Because I think it was maybe like a week or something like that after I thought I got my peak, I got my real peak, and I could see such a difference, and the line was so much darker and it was so much clearer. So yeah, that was my true peak. So I would highly recommend anyone who's trying for a baby or thinking they're going to try for a baby, get the ovulation kits, because I think that saved us. Like, because had I not have known that, and had I not have, you know, read up about it so much and bought the kits and knew my true time to really try, it would have went into another month, and then it probably would have went into another month as well. You know, it would have just kept rolling into month to month until you just randomly got that exact date. Funny story, I was actually wanting and ready to do the pregnancy test like a good few days before then, but because I had COVID and I was working from home, I got up that morning and I was sitting and ready to work, had my laptop on the sofa and everything, had a cup of coffee behind me, and I was sitting on the sofa like sideways, not front facing. So I leaned behind me to get my cup of coffee, and I pulled something in my neck, and I have never felt pain like it. And I actually laughed because in my video of when me and Gary did the test together, there's one point where he hugs me, and I did crop it out, but he hugs me and there's a wee bit in it, you can still hear that first initial hug, and I'm like because he like squeezed me too hard and my neck was so sore. And I did want to test a few days before, but I was like, no, I don't want to, because I'm going to be so happy and so excited, and we're going to be like hugging and everything and jumping about, and I can't because my neck's in so much pain, and I don't want to like hinder the experience of the excitement and everything I'm finding out while being like all crooked with my neck and stuff. So we did the test together, and that's one thing again I probably never thought I would want to do. I always thought I would like have a big surprise for Gary, and then, you know, like surprise him and just tell him and me find out by myself kind of thing. But the more then I thought about it, and I did say to him like, do you want surprised or do you want, you know, to do it together? And he was like, no, I'd rather do it together. And I felt the same. And the only reason I feel like it's never a true surprise, you're trying for a baby. So if I gave Gary a white box and was like open it and have the camera out, he would know what's in it, you know, he would know what's coming. So it's not really a surprise. We did our test together, we told all our family together, recorded as many people as we physically could. Everyone was so delighted, like it was just great. And I think it's one of those things, because we've been together for so long and everyone obviously knew we were going to have a baby and start a family, but it was just kind of like when. So yeah, it was just fabulous. It was just so fabulous. And anytime I think back of like my pregnancy, it just makes me so happy. Like I really did enjoy it. Gary was a dream. He really did make it such an enjoyable experience. You know, anytime I was worried or sad or upset, he's the one and only person I will always want to go to for comfort. He handled me so well, and the pregnancy so well, and the journey so well. I already knew, but it just solidified that he was just going to be the best dad ever, and he is. Gonna get emotional, but yeah, so that is kind of the conception and our starting off journey. I'm just gonna check on my notes because I did, like I say, make a few notes. The cat has her claw in my sock under the chair, and I think it's stuck. Okay, it's out. I have some notes of my pregnancy symptoms. 4 to 5 weeks, obviously everyone's completely different, but when I was 4 to 5 weeks, I had really sore boobs, like really sore boobs, that even like the slightest touch, agony, really sore boobs and nipples. Didn't sleep fabulously at the start, but that was really short-lived, because I'm telling you, I slept like a god when I was pregnant. I did start to wake up earlier, but I slept great. Again, I feel so sorry for anyone who doesn't sleep because they're sore. I know a lot of people have like sore hips when they're pregnant. No, not me. Not me. I slept beautifully. So nice. I felt one day, and I remember one day I went over to the toilet because I thought I was going to be sick. And in a weird way, I kind of got a bit excited because I was like, oh, this is morning sickness. Wasn't sick, and it never came back. Never came back. I did not bring up one bit of sick, even just a normal bug or flu, you know, not to do with pregnancy. Like I had nothing at all. I had 6 to 8 weeks, and I was a bit more tired. I do remember actually now, see, this is bringing it all back. I remember there was a stage where I was pretty exhausted, and I would come home from work and I could just sit in the sofa. I love like cleaning and stuff. After work, I hate sitting in a messy or dirty house. After work, I would come home and I was just so exhausted. I couldn't even really think about making dinner or cleaning. But that was short-lived as well. I think it was only a few weeks, and Gary was great and just picked up the slack. I don't think he really did much cooking because he's not the best to cook, so I can't actually remember really what we did then. But
yeah, we just dealt with that and it was fine. And like I said, it was short-lived and I was still lucky it wasn't awful. 17 weeks was when I started to feel movement, so that was super duper exciting. I remember, I was just gonna say, it was 19 weeks I seen movement from the outside, and I remember that one clear as day because I was sat on the bed and Gary was in the shower, and I remember looking, I had my top up and I think it was like massaging my tummy or something, and I looked down and I just seen like the like a foot or something flick out on my tummy, like properly moving from the outside, and I was like, oh my god, because it had only been a couple of weeks where I'd started to feel, you know, little flutters and spins and kicks and flicks. So for kind of, what was that, 2 weeks after, to see something from the outside, it was pretty freaky. But again, so amazing and just the most magical feeling that you'll ever have. 24 weeks, that's when I had my bleed. It was in like 3 bursts I have wrote down. So I remember I had like one, it kind of felt like, you know, it felt like I was wetting myself and I kind of couldn't hold it in. I remember, don't want to go into too much detail, but I was lying in bed. We were lying in bed and I just had a lovely shower. I plaited my hair and got into bed, and did I have pants on or did I not have pants on? But anyway, I had the duvet in between my legs, my pregnancy pillow and everything. It was all comfy, and I think we were actually watching TikToks, and I felt like that, as if you're gonna wet yourself kind of, and it just kind of like came out, and I knew I couldn't keep it in, so I didn't know what it was, and I was like, I'm not peeing myself, like what's going on? But when I pulled the duvet over, there was a big pool of blood on the duvet. I remember saying to Gary, why am I bleeding? And like, he was like traumatized too. It was not nice at all. I was wailing and crying, like, because I just thought, oh my god, this is it, like, we're not gonna, this is the end of our journey. Then there was another like episode of it, and then I remember on the way up to the hospital, it was fine in the car because obviously I'm sitting down, and then as soon as I got out of the car to walk to the hospital, and like, I had grey joggers on, I had just flung clothes on, and when we were walking in I was like, alright, this is just gonna come out, like, I was standing with my legs crossed and I couldn't do anything about it, and it did, and it was showing and it was awful, but you just kind of don't care because you're so worried and you just deal with it. So there was that. 28 plus, sharp pains and a full and tight tummy. That was one thing. See, the whole eating for 2, I couldn't eat for 2. I couldn't even eat for myself. I just felt so full all the time. I wouldn't say I lost my appetite because I still wanted to eat, but I just couldn't eat big amounts, and maybe even slightly lesser amounts than what I would have normally had. If you could see him, he is conked out. 30 weeks is then when I started to get period cramps, and again, I kind of started to worry about that. I think maybe because of the bleed, but it was always in the back of my head, is this going to happen again? And if it is it going to feel like period cramps? Because you associate period cramps with blood. So that was a wee bit worrying, but it was always fine, and I know it's like totally normal to have. 36 weeks is when I started to develop carpal tunnel syndrome. Awful, so awful, and I probably had that up until only a few weeks ago. He is now 6 weeks today. My fingers did swell a wee bit. Didn't really swell anywhere else, just really my hand. That is all my kind of pregnancy symptoms. I can't think of anything else that I kind of experienced that was like pregnancy-ish related. Getting a YouTube video together is definitely a lot harder now. I've gone and grabbed my ring light, and then my battery started flashing, and my other 2 batteries that I thought were charged are not charged, so took a little break. He had a meltdown and we are back to being settled. I know he's just super tired. But yes, I think I was just saying basically that I had a dreamy pregnancy and I want to do it all over again. No, I'm so jealous of anyone who's pregnant or going on that journey at the minute, because I loved it and I miss it so much. But yeah, I was very lucky and had minimal symptoms. So the last thing I just wanted to kind of run through was my appointments. So the thing that like traumatized me was when I found out I was pregnant, I felt really awkward ringing the doctors and saying like, I'm pregnant. I don't know why, I just found it really weird. And I thought they would like want to see you and confirm your pregnancy and do all that stuff. I don't know if and when it's changed, but basically no, you don't do anything. You don't do any like urine samples or blood tests, or they don't do any checkups or anything.
I had to wait until June. The 9th of June was my first 12-week scan. I actually thought I was due on the 22nd of December, but when I went to that 12-week appointment, they brought it forward to the 15th of December. So you just self-refer yourself to the hospital and you get your appointment, and that is it. If you're from Northern Ireland, I gave birth in the Ulster Hospital, and that's where all my appointments were, apart from obviously my midwife ones, and they were at my wee grunty grunt over here. They were at my doctor's surgery. So not that many appointments, not that many scans. You're okay. Do you see how crazy his hair is though as well? He actually has 2 crowns on the back of his head, so I know haircuts are going to be a nightmare, and his hair always looks a wee bit wacky. No appointments before the 12 weeks, and then the 12 week comes, and see the like overwhelming feeling of just knowing that everything's okay on that appointment. It's magical. So we have just come back from our 12-week scan. That is it. Still have been like thinking whether we're gonna find out or not if it's a boy or a girl, and I don't think we will. I don't know, we'll see. I don't want to say no and then it ends up happening, but I'm not dying to find out. I think I'm quite content keeping it as a surprise, but we will see, find out whether we find out or not. But it was amazing. It was so nice to see the baby wiggle about. Look, this is baby Robin. I was looking wild there and just had to take that down. But yeah, obviously, like if you've not had a baby or you're not that into it, that's the baby's head, it's the body, and then that's its wee feet up in the air. And I think that wee squiggly thing is like the umbilical cord going down. So yeah, I just wish we could have heard the heartbeat, but anyway. So yeah, that is all. I just wanted to check in. I don't really know how this video is going to form or like come together. It's probably going to be like a whole big mishmash of us finding out, telling everyone we're pregnant, and maybe this snippet of our scan. I don't know. Gary was sneaky. I did say to him, like, when we're there, you're not meant to take like photos and videos yourself. And I just said, like, if you can, maybe just take a wee sneaky one. So he did take a little video. So I will insert that now. I hope you enjoy, and I will talk to you guys soon. Then I had a midwife appointment in July, a month after, so a good gap. I had my whooping cough vaccine in July as well. The quadruple test, which I think is the one where they test for Down syndrome and Edwards syndrome and maybe other things. I was going to go for it in July, but I didn't, and I cancelled it. You don't have to, and it's voluntary, and a lot of people actually don't end up getting it done. The 29th of July I had the Anomalies scan, which is I think the big one, and they tell you, you know, if everything's good and your baby's okay and the bone structure's good and it's got no deformities. Okay, so this is like chaotic, but obviously you won't be seeing this. I find it really weird talking to you knowing that like this isn't going out anywhere for a while. My hair looks so weird. Oh, so hello guys and welcome back. Today, so much stress, so little time. If you can grab a bottle of water, any. So hello guys and welcome back. I have our 20-week scan today and I am so excited. Can't wait to see how much baby has grown and how different everything is. This is the one I know you can find out for free on the NHS, what gender it is, but we're not. We don't want to know, for now anyway. Might turn a wee bit psychotic near the end and bust to find out, but for now we're keeping it a surprise, so we need to say, do not tell us, please, at this scan. Don't want to know, don't want any indication, inclination, like anything noticeable in the scan, keep it hidden kind of thing, because I know even though I don't want to know, I'm still going to be looking out to try and find out. So yeah, but we're running late. I was working from home today. It's 3:22, the scan is at 3:50. 30 minutes, we should be okay, we should be fine. I'm probably just faffing. I wanted to like get a big bottle of water and I wanted to vlog in the house for a bit and catch up. I need to finish doing my mascara, and yeah, I'm wearing a dress, which probably people would have said is like a really silly idea because I'm gonna obviously have to lie there half naked, but I've got cycling shorts on, so I'm just gonna pull my shorts right up and we'll just have to roll with that. So Yeah, I'm so excited. Are you excited?
Can't wait.
He's getting all stressed and flappy. Well, we've got loads of time. We've got half an hour. And it should only take maybe 20 minutes-ish to get there. So don't kill anyone. Let's go see our baby.
Yeah.
So I just want to find the little stomach, because where you see the stomach is round about waist level. So again, I'm just trying to get the angle here. Eggs, and that's head there. So it's literally arms and everything. So it's reaching for its toes. Look, so these are the 2 feet here, the head, and then the hand there. Well, that's actually part of its body. It's so curled up there. It's got its feet over the top of its head. Yeah. So this is. There's the 2 little legs there, and then the head is there. So this is a leg coming up the side of the head. Like, how they can get in those positions? You can break something. But it's playing with its toes. Look, it's reaching with its toes as the hand on its foot.
So we're out of our scan. We'll have to come back because Baby was in a weird position and they couldn't check everything that they needed to check. So we're coming back on Gary's birthday, 10th of August. But everything was fine with Baby. Everything that she could see. Anyway, it was the heart and the what?
Diaphragm.
Heart and the diaphragm. We need to come back to check. So
She
we're coming back. It's on 2 weeks. 2 weeks time. So that's good. I'm kind of happy in a weird way because I know everything's fine and everything that she could see was fine. She could see the heart, but just not fully what she needed to. So we'll be back. On the anomaly scan, they couldn't see the left heart valve. So that was a bit worrying, but the midwife was quite reassuring that it happens sometimes. So then I was re-scanned in August for the anomaly to check that valve again. And again, they couldn't see it. And that was obviously a wee bit worrying, but I was just reassured that it would be fine and the heartbeat was fine and normal. The blood flow was fine and normal. So that's all I could kind of roll with. 17th of September, I had to do the gestational diabetes test. Not that nice. You have a drink. You have to like starve yourself that morning. I made a mistake because you're meant to fast for so many hours, and it was one night we were up late putting curtains up maybe or something, I don't know, and because we were up so late I had really bad heartburn, so I had Gaviscon, and then I think I had a biscuit probably at like 2 AM or something like that. So when I went to the appointment, she was like, so you haven't eaten in, I don't know how long it was meant to be, but like say 12 hours, and I was like no. And then I caught myself on, I was like, oh my god, I have. And then I was like, do I say anything? Because the like Gaviscon's sugary, the biscuit's sugary, and it's a diabetes test. So I was like, do I say or do I not say? But what if I don't say? And then it comes up because of like the biscuit and the Gaviscon that I've got diabetes, even though I don't. And I was really panicking. So I was just like, oh no, sorry, actually I think I forgot. I did have Gaviscon, and I kind of lied about the time frame a little bit. So yeah, we pushed the appointment back, I think like an hour. My sister came with me to that one. I think they take your bloods before you drink the drink, then when you've drank the drink, and then like maybe an hour or 2 after you've drank the drink to see what way the sugary drink affects your bloods, that kind of thing. They rang me and told me I didn't have diabetes, so that was fantastic. But I remember after that appointment, they say obviously you can eat after. I had went to McDonald's with my sister and they still had the breakfast on, did they? Yes. And I got some food and I felt fine, like I felt so fine the whole time. But see, when I finished eating, I felt so faint, so dizzy, like so awful, and I'd driven us and I was really worried, and I was like, I don't think I can drive us home for like a while, we need to sit and wait. So we sat in the car for maybe like half an hour, 20 minutes, just so I could like compose myself. I don't know, I've never felt like that. I know they took a bit of blood, but I don't feel funny ever when blood's taken, so I don't know what happened there, but that was that. It was fine. The 9th of October is when we did our 4D scan. So amazing, highly recommend the 4D scan. I loved it so much, but again we had to have a rescan because he was hiding behind his hands the whole time. And like a lot of hair, or you can't really see or tell.
No, but when you see
there's
that,
something anyway.
Spiky, white bright bits there, it's usually hair that you see. I have an awful feeling we're going to have trouble seeing this wee baby's face.
Oh. The first time we went with my best friend and my mum and my sister and Gary, but then yeah, like I said, he was hiding, so the rescan, it was just me and Gary that went because I didn't want everyone traipsing and taking time out of their day if it was going to be the same and he was going to be hiding again. He was still hiding a wee bit, but not like overly, and we could get like a good idea, and we got some pictures, and we also got this bear which has his heartbeat in it, and I love it so much. It's just, you ready? And after that, we had another appointment in the Ulster. This is where it started to go a wee bit pear-shaped. So I had one in November, the 14th of November. I was 36 weeks. Most of the time, I think, they will, you know, measure you and do a dot on the growth chart of where your baby's at. So when I went back at 36 weeks, I was actually with my mum at this appointment. Gary went to all my appointments, apart from the diabetes one and this one. So yeah, it all, so they brought me in and they did the scan and everything, and all was great. I think on this one asked her to check the left heart valve that they missed it, or they couldn't find on the 20-week one. Tell me about it. Tell me about what's wrong. You got beautiful eyes. Scan went great. My mum was delighted, it was lovely. She was there, heard the heartbeat, they checked all the blood flow, measurements, everything was fine. I asked her to check the left valve that they couldn't see on the other scans, and then we sit down and she starts to fill in my book, and that is when the tone changes, and you could just tell like it went a wee bit serious. And obviously I'm shitting myself, and so is my mum, and she's basically saying that not that the baby had dropped weight, but instead of it like going on an incline, it had just like plateaued and was just going like straight across, so it wasn't actually growing. No drop, but just straight line. So obviously in the like 3 weeks that had passed, and near the end I think babies grow a bit more rapidly, so it was 3 weeks since the last one. She would have expected it to continue, but that obviously didn't, well, they thought didn't happen. So the conversation was, we're going to bring you in to get you induced on the 24th of November, which was only 10 days from this appointment. So I had just over a week that they were then going to apparently bring me in and induce me to get the baby out, because there was a concern the baby wasn't growing. But obviously I was just really, really worried, and I didn't want an induction, and I didn't want like any interference. And yeah, it was a big shock, because the scan itself was so fine and so good and everything was great, to then it being like, oh my god, no, we're gonna have to bring you in. So they sent me round to EOU, which is where you get monitored, and there's for like emergencies and pregnancies. They sent me round there, and there was a bit of a wait, and I had to wait to see like the big doctor. And while I was waiting, then I'd maybe been there 20 minutes, half an hour, they called me just to do my blood pressure. It was a young girl doing it, and she goes, "So your blood pressure's a wee bit high," and I'm like, any wonder? And she goes, "I think there's just been a bit of a mix-up," and I'm like, huh? And like my head is like chaos right now. Like obviously Gary wasn't at this appointment, so I'm ringing Gary. I'd rang my sister. Gary had told his mum, and it was like, holy shit, you know, something's maybe wrong. Not urgently wrong, but there's something maybe up. And there was just a bit of panic, and she basically just said that they got it wrong. They think they've got it wrong. They're still doing checks. And just to calm myself down, and that that was it. They were going to call me back in a minute, or when they could, and have a chat with me and check everything. So I walked back. I don't think my mum actually came around the corner, and I remember I walked back to my mum and I was like, "Mum, I don't think I am getting induced now." And we were a bit like, "Well, what is actually going on?" And the girl was just very like blasé about it, as in like, "Why have you got high blood pressure? You know, everything's fine and we've just made a mistake," kind of thing. And I'm like, hold up a minute, like you've just told me I need to have my baby, what, like 3-4 weeks earlier, whatever it was going to be, earlier than I thought. So went into the EOU bit, the woman sat me down, and she basically just said that at my 33-week appointment, the one before this one, they put the dot in the wrong place on my chart. So she measured the baby right, but just when she was, because the measurements were like further on in the book, but the bit where the chart is, she had just simply put the dot in the wrong place. But because they were looking at that previous dot, and that's what didn't incline, and it just plateaued, That is what made everyone panic and think that baby hadn't been growing. So yeah, that was annoying, but it is what it is and mistakes happen. So even though they had fully discovered that it was like their mistake, she was still like, we'll still leave your induction booked. And I was like, why? Because I don't want it. I know, you know, I'm fine, like you've made a mistake, mistakes happen, I really don't care, but I'm not wanting to be brought in to be induced just for the crack. Still then brought me in regularly for checks. So I think they panicked because of their mistake and because of what they told me, and I don't know, they just wanted to be extra cautious or something, I don't know. But I was then brought in, I think, weekly. When I went on the 24th of November, which was my induction day apparently, they offered me a sweep to like try get things going, and I was like no, because baby's not due until the 15th of December and I'd rather not, you know, bring things along earlier than necessary. And then on the 1st of December they also offered me a sweep, and I was like no, baby's still also got up 2 weeks left in there until my estimated due date. So I was like no thank you. And then on the 15th of December I remember walking in and the doctor going to me, oh my god Sarah, what's happening, why is there no baby? And I'm like, it's an estimated date, why would I have had my baby bang on the date that you've estimated for me? It's the most bizarre thing ever, because I know typically you're allowed to go 2 weeks, you know, 2 weeks after your due date. Apparently that's now changed and it's no more than a week. Spoke to a midwife or a health visitor, and she was really helpful, and she was kind of like, you know, if you don't want to be induced, you don't be induced, you don't have to go, you don't have to do anything, it's your choice. Obviously you'd be silly not to if it's like a health concern for you or the baby. She looked at my notes and everything was confirmed, it was tickety boo. There was no health reason for me to be brought in, apart from the fact that they were saying that, and this was my whole pregnancy, the whole pregnancy, he was on the 10th centile. So I had that in my head, but when you go to the appointment you kind of feel, you know, like it's a medical professional that's telling you in that setting, and you feel vulnerable, you know, you should be induced. You're kind of thinking, oh my god, right, should I be induced? Am I being silly here? So yeah, I was really confused when I went in and she'd asked me why I hadn't had my baby on my due date. But and like I said earlier, I actually have my due date as the 22nd, not the 15th. I don't know, maybe they got the dates wrong or whatever. So 15th comes along and obviously no baby. I think on the 15th, did I take a sweep? I think I had a sweep on the 15th. Baby boy ended up coming on the 23rd. So what's that, 8 days over? 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 8 days over. And I had to be induced. I will talk a lot more in detail about it in my labour vlog, but I don't think he was ready, and I think they got the dates wrong, because after he was born he was never on the 10th centile. He was 7.14, which isn't a small baby, but had things been left alone I would say he would have been born around the end of December, start of January. But that all doesn't matter because my little man is here and he's happy and healthy, and so am I, and we had a very smooth-ish labour and induction, no problems, I mean, anyway. But I would just say and like reiterate, and even for like my next pregnancy or pregnancies, I will really try be avoiding the induction unless there is like a medical need for it, and I don't really care if I'm like a week or 2 weeks, 2 weeks and a day over. You know, it obviously does get to a point probably around the 2 week mark after your due date that you're thinking even yourself, I want the baby out. But yeah, I will probably just be a lot more mindful of that next time and try and be left alone a lot more, and just to let my body do what my body's meant to do. But yeah, I think I've kind of covered everything. My next video will definitely be my labour. If you're on my Instagram you already know this name anyway, but I always loved this name, and I tried to persuade Gary to use it and he was having none of it. And then I think when he was born and I seen him, it just like clicked and made sense. So he is called Roman Ricardo Brown. I love the name Roman so much. I always have. My grandfather's Italian, so I wanted something Italian-ish in there, but not something that anyone's gonna not be able to pronounce, or it's gonna be like a massive long name. battery died. But yeah, I think it's got such a nice ring to it. So that is my beautiful baby boy's name and the end of the video. So I hope you've enjoyed. I will see you very soon for my labour vlog.